Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. We will continue our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place in the former state of Ethiopia. The fighting continues, and it is especially heavy on the areas that are south of Debark. We are getting reports of some incredibly intense fighting, ranging from the areas in the vicinity of Dabat and its environs. We are seeing the Amhara paramilitary militias and its Ethiopian National Defense Force allies. They appear to be putting up a rather significant defense of an onward press towards the ultimate target of Gondar. Does that mean that the Tigrayan Defense Forces, in its efforts to push south, have been stopped? No, it simply means that the fighting is very intense, and both sides are involved in some very significant and heated exchanges that are occurring in the region south of Debark. With that being said, Debark is fully under siege, and again is the larger town that is kind of the gateway towards the deep Amhara region and especially Gondar. The Tigrayan Defense Forces have essentially bypassed Debark and placed it under siege as it moves south. But we are seeing significant numbers of Amhara paramilitaries and militia units starting to become involved in the fighting around and near Dabat, and it continues as this video is being recorded. We can also say that Amhara paramilitaries and militia units are being utilized in other areas of the country as well, such as operations inside the Oromia region, and that is due to the activity of the Oromo Liberation Army. And just to touch on that real quick, really what we're seeing is a multifaceted civil war. We're almost seeing a conventional war, so to speak, between the Tigray region and the Ethiopian national government. It has aspects of a guerrilla type of conflict and a high intensity insurgency, but at the same time, it has major elements now of a conventional conflict. But that fighting obviously continues and is very, very intense. In other areas, such as the Oromia region, it is a high intensity insurgency. It is a guerrilla war, but at the same time, we are starting to see aspects of a more conventional type of conflict in which we are seeing towns and cities starting to be taken by the OLA, the Oromo Liberation Army. In other areas, in the southern frontal operations towards the town of Dese, we continue to see the Tigrayan Defense Forces push towards Dese. This is a very significant target. It would be the largest urban landscape with two fairly decent sized towns very close together that could be taken by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. But again, we are looking at fairly significant resistance. Obviously, as the population density increases, the ability to supply and recruit fighters who are willing to fight basically for the towns that they live in and occupy is going to increase, and that's going to inherently increase the resistance that the Tigrayan Defense Forces are facing. But we do know that the TDF has pushed into Hike and are pushing south towards the town of Salula and are operating and there are fairly significant engagements occurring south of really Hike and Wachale and in the environments of Dese and Kombolcha. And in fact, we did see at one point TDF units had become had gotten very close to even the outlying districts of Kombolcha. But again, as you can see, there is an airbase, airport. There is infrastructure here, so these two cities are going to be defended really at all cost. The idea of the strategy of in which some of the supporters of the Ethiopian military and the Amhara paramilitaries would have you believe that the TDF is being led into an area in order to be trapped at some point um, is 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 really deceitful, because that's simply not the case. They would not allow the TDF to push this far into the Amhara region on purpose. So let's just eliminate that. And again, that's not the case. But at the same time, we are seeing significant fighting in the area. And I was asked a question in the comment section in terms of how are we seeing this conflict now in the Amhara region when the Tigray region was completely occupied by the Ethiopian army and its Amhara allies. Well, it was a process. And yes, the Ethiopian military, with its Eritrean allies, were able to occupy large parts of the Tigray region. They were not able to get into really and drive out the Tigray Defense Forces, which had withdrawn into the Timbian, the mountainous area in central and southern Tigray region. And that allowed the Tigray Defense Forces to reconstitute, to organize, and start a high-intensity insurgency by attacking supply columns that were running from Ethiopia, the Amhara region, up to Mekelle, all the way up to other areas of Ethiopia. And that just continued and continued. The Ethiopian army obviously was able to get into the Tigray region, but given the capability to supply the Ethiopian army just wasn't there. Again, the type of troops that were brought in, the Ethiopian army's best troops could not stay inside of the Tigray region permanently, and a lot of really subpar units were brought in terms of to occupy the Tigray region and be used as kind of a police force, and that was unsuccessful. These forces met significant resistance, and given the fact that they were undersupplied and not very well trained, they became casualties very quickly of the very well motivated and mobilizing Tigray region. And that led eventually to battlefield defeats. Many of them were involved in the Timbian region, the mountainous region in between south of Shire Axum and west of Mekelle. And in those mountainous regions, the Ethiopian military went to die, quite frankly, and that's what occurred. And even some of its better units were eventually brought in and did not have a lot of success, as were the Eritreans. The Eritreans as well attempted to move into the Timbian and faced tremendous difficulties. And these two forces were, for all intents and purposes, worn out over an extended period of time. And the leadership inside of the Tigray region, in terms of the Ethiopian general staff, the Eritrean general staff, did not believe they could maintain a force structure inside of the Tigray region the way the insurgency was picking up, the way the attacks were picking up, and the battlefield defeats and the ambushes of the supply columns that they were seeing. So, and hence, they withdrew from the Tigray region. And now we are where we are now because of the actions by a lot of those forces that were in the Tigray region, the human rights abuses that took place, and a lot of other crimes as well. I'm not going to get too much into that, but this has led to the situation that we're currently in. The Tigray region is a independent state as we speak. It is self-governing. It has its own military, and its military is becoming bigger as it trains and continues to mobilize in this all or nothing war against the Amhara region and the what's left of the Ethiopian state based in Addis Ababa. We will continue to report and bring you information as things occur. I am looking at the possible Turkish weapons shipment to the Ethiopian state, the Amhara militia units, and I'll do a report on that soon on how I think that could or could not change the course of the conflict. Have a great day, everybody.